Tēnā tātou. Welcome back to Thankful Thursday. We're so pleased and honoured to have our special guest back again. Sorry about the delay, but we've got better coverage now. She's got a charger for her waiapukoro, so we're so thankful to have former Miss Rotorua for 2020, leading into 21. She had the honour last Friday to be a part of Miss Rotorua 2021 and handing the title over to her successor. So, in saying that, it's with great pleasure that we mihi to this beautiful wahine. Wahine toa Maya he marae kura e whakanui ana tō tātane reo Māori, e whakanui hoki I te āhuatanga e pāna ki tēnei mea te whakanui ia haua anake. So a lady, a steward of her own mana wahine who's joining us tonight. So, in saying that, tēnā koe Aututahi, no mai hara mai ki te hōtaka e kia nei ko Thankful Thursday. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. I know there was a little bit of difficulties around that, but yeah, so thank you for joining us tonight. How are you?
Tēnā koe iwi, ngā mihi nui kia koe ai, kia manawa nui mai e hoa ma papatahi katoa te waia I te rapu haere mo te tehi charger. Engari kua tau, ko hoki mai au ki te taiwhanga o te Aro FM, ki tēnei wāhi ngū. kia pai ai tata tau anei kōrero I te pōnei. Heoi, ngā mihi nui kia koe I whai whakaaro mōku ki tēnei, ki te uru ki tēnei kaupapa whakahirahira Thankful Thursday. I am blessed, I am grateful to be a part of this kōrero, so thank you so much for having me, Iwi.
Oh, it's all right. Hey, you're a gun at this stuff anyway. You do it every day at te reo I rerangi o te aroa. So he mihi kaua tu tēnei ki a koe, mito mahi I wainga nui tō tātane hāpuri. So we'll be in reo tauiwi at this time. So he mohi o pai tō mātene whānau. So we've got a whole heap of different whānau from all over the country and all over te ao. And so we've got a few people that have joined us from Canada, the United States, based in New York and California. So it's been really nice getting some of these messages from a selective few of people that have been, I've been blessed to have on getting the feedback from them. But most of the take around it is based around you and the blessings that you bring in regards to Thankful Thursday. But I mua tēnā, let's find out ko wai koe no whiana koe.
Tēnā koe, ngā mihi nui kia tātou. Ko whakapau ngākau, ko tūturu, ko tarawera, ko hikurangi hoki ngā maunga. Nō reira he uri a hau I tipu mai ki te aroa. Engari, he hononga nui ki te tairawhiti ki Ngāti Ue Pōhatu, Ngāti Porou hoki. Ko Aututahi Pōtaka Jews tōku ingoa. I am born in Auckland, but raised in the heart of Māoridom, some would say, here in Rotorua, here in Te Aroa Waka. But my father is also from Samoa, so my roots run across the oceans to the beautiful islands of Samoa. I, as you said, work in Iwi Radio, local Iwi radio station here in Rotorua, Te Aroa FM. I've been here for a little over a year, I think now. Lose time when with all these lockdowns in between. But I think it's going on a year and a half or something like that. But prior to that, my passion was in tourism and Māori performing arts and sharing our Māori culture with many, many visitors that would come from New York, from Canada, from all over the world here to Rotorua. So, tēnā tātou.
Oh, tēnā koe. Speaking about your roots all over the motu, how are you, Nan, during this time of COVID? How are you both during this time?
We've learned a lot about each other, you know. I was really lucky to be raised by my nan and koro, and they adopted that whakaaro of the firstborn mokopuna goes to the kaumata, goes to their grandparents. And so I was really lucky to be raised in their world. But I think in this COVID time, yeah, you sort of understand a little bit deeper how one works and how one thinks, and how different that may be to what you thought initially. So we've had our blowouts. Kia pono ngā kōrero. We've definitely clashed at times, but they were good clashings because it taught us more about each other and how we can then resolve other issues when they arise again. So we're doing good. We're still alive. Koera te
Well,
mea nui.
yeah, koina te tino mea nui. And talking about your grandparents, your grandfather, he whakaro rangatira ki tō koraua, he was quite a gentleman in the acting scenes. Do you want to explain what movies and shows because he was nearly in quite a few that I can remember as a kid watching and growing up with watching these movies. I think some of them I wasn't meant to watch, but some of these movies as a kid, how was that for you as his mokopuna watching your grandfather on the screen?
Yes. Well, see, when when I was growing up with Koro, I never knew that he was a movie star. Yeah, how he put himself as a movie star. To me, he was just a man that wore many hats, but at the end of the day was still my koro. And I remember the first movie that I had known he was a part of was What Become of the Broken Hearted, which was
Yes,
like the sequel to Once We're Warriors sort of thing. He
yes,
refused to be a part of Once We're Warriors because of the storyline. He didn't agree with it perpetuating that sort of message about our tāne Māori and just about Māori in general.
yeah,
But he accepted the second one because it was a little bit more spiritual, which was more in his lane. Um, and yeah, so I vaguely remember that one, but I don't think I was meant to watch it as well. Nan stopped me watching it beyond a certain point. So I
yeah.
still to this day haven't seen the whole movie. But a
I'm the
moment
same.
that
Yep,
really, yeah.
yeah,
But he was also a part of The Piano, which is being sort of remade again to be a show, I think, on Netflix or something like that, so I hear.
yes,
But he was also in Rapa Nui, and this was like one of his favorite movies to be a part of. It's showcasing how the Moai in Rapa Nui were built, well,
yeah,
according to their myth and their legends. And so he was Te Ariki Nui on there, and he loved that role. He
yeah,
wore brown contacts for the first time ever, and he would tell me more of the behind the scenes rather than what the movie was about.
yes, yes.
Yeah. So for me, I got
Oh,
to see how he worked and how he got into that zone, and he would just pass on any tips. Not that he ever thought that I would choose to follow in his footsteps in a sense, but yeah, he's always in the forefront of my mind whenever I take the stage to this day.
oh, rawe. While we're talking about koro, I found a bit of a clip on him, and I wanted to show everybody this. It's called Eru Pōtaka Jew's life and career of this courageous man, and I wanted to share it today on screen too. Not only it frames tonight's kōrero in regards at the genealogy that connects to you and the mahi that you do, not only for Te Pāho or Te Aroa FM, but the mahi that you do on stage and the stuff that you've been doing with this pageant. So that's why I
Right.
wanted to share tonight koro, and plus your nan has played a major role in your life, you said too. So that's another milestone in itself. Nō reira, ngā takitaki mai.
Oh,
Jews attended Waiamatatini Native Primary School, Gisborne Boys High School, and Otago University, where he studied history and teaching. Afterwards he became an Anglican priest. After living a few years in Australia, he returned to New Zealand in the 1980s and engaged in political and legal debates concerning Maori questions, particularly those related to the Treaty of Waitangi. During 1991, Potaka Jews established the Aotearoa NZ Action Committee's Alternative Immigration Office, ANZAC, as an immigration centre for Indigenous peoples. During the 1990s and early 2000s decade, he also was working as an actor, appearing in Jane Campion's film The Piano and Rapa Nui, produced by Kevin Costner. He was also the Dean of Theology at the Maori Anglican Theological College in Rotorua and taught in several Rotorua schools. Potaka Jews died on the 7th of August 2009 in Rotorua, age 70. He was survived by his wife, Kiri, and his children.
Ka pai, so that was
Wow.
koro, and I just happened to come across it when last week, and I thought I just have to play that segment of koro on the show. So, and your lineage is based around koro, and and your nanny Kiri. And the stuff that you get involved with, and you follow her political stance around the motu, which is also an awesome kaupapa. But you talked about your other passion, which is based around tourism, and my particular kōrero is because our kids have missed out on the nationals that were meant to be held down in Nelson, and that's a huge kaupapa because growing up, even you and I, growing up as young people, kapahaka was a huge influence in our lives. And Koro doing his acting, Nana Kitty and her stance with all these committees, Māori committees that she sits on and advocates for us on. What in the kapahaka industry that you have come through, what are these barriers that you think now that we need to overcome in regards to kapahaka moving forward with COVID? What's your stance on how we should approach that? Because we've just heard that Te Matatini is Kwamutu until 2023. We've
Mm.
heard that the Nelson Nationals for our kids in the primary intermediate schools have been cancelled. We had to cancel our ahure that's normally this week. So there's a whole heap of our identity and culture as Māori that we've had to realign ourselves with. So my question to you is, how do you think we can come back from COVID to ensure that our kaupapa, our tikanga, our stories, our mahiarehia survives this pandemic?
That's a really great pathway, and I feel like we became so accustomed to having competition style haka as a way of amplifying our Māori culture, on an international level and on a national stage as well, that maybe for some it became one of the only ways to get the ahure out there. But of course, we as Te Arawa know that for many of us it was bread and butter with concert life, with our tourism side. So it wasn't just a 8 to 12 week campaign for a half an hour performance. This was every day breathing our songs and keeping the mana of our tupuna alive through our waiata and through our performances. So I think me hoki atu ki e rā momo whakaaro, that competition isn't the be all and end all of haka Māori, of kapahaka. And I can't really speak to a competitive experience because I've not myself yet taken the stage in a senior group. I performed in high school competitively, but afterwards I found that I really loved more being on stage with whānau, learning songs about our history and learning local waiata and pūrākau through these waiata, through kapahaka that way. And I think that's on a national scale, we might need to return to that. So it was really gutting that Piki Awahure was cancelled, because that's where we see, ngā hua o te ao haka, mō tātou te iwi Māori, ka mutu mō te rangatahi e tupu mai ana hoki. That's how we learn who we are, where we're from. So I really hope that now with, I guess, not that restrictions are sort of relaxing. Kia haunei, if we can have 660 come to Rotorua at the National Stadium, why couldn't we have Piki a Wahurei?
Right, that's exactly my whakaaro. We can have all this mainstream stuff, but yet although, we have to really think about the safety of our people as
Right.
nai Māori, but I'm the same. Māori go to 660, so,
Yes.
and I'm positive that some of the vulnerable will be there too. So, but, that was my whakaaro around it too. I was thinking to myself, if it's good for one, then it must be good for all of us,
Yeah.
to accept that, we have to adapt to a new norm. And in saying that, it just means also that we have to really think about some of the places and some of the things that we need to revive. And I think it comes back to that kōrero again. What are we going to do to
Mm.
ensure that COVID doesn't eliminate everything from us, but it gives us a huge bit of support? And my second question to you is that, as a concert party goer and, being part of our thermal village and stuff like that for many years, what do you miss about the tourism industry?
Man, I just miss everything about it. I miss performing every day. As autonomous, some people say that concerts were. For me, it was really about knowing the legacy that I was a part of, knowing that, in 50 years' time, I'm a part of the snapshot of what tourism haka and concerts looks like. Tourism looks like for Rotorua at this moment. We look back and see photos of Auntie B, of Irirangi, just all these Anene Mona and Korohuru, all these people that were like solid foundations in concert life before even taking competitive stage. That was, this for them was competitive in a way because your solo had to be better than someone else's. Your pokare had to be the pokare if you're going to sing it, if you're
You're
going to
so
play the
right. And
guitar.
oh man, I tell you, this is why I always say that I did Te Matatini, because this Māori boy used to cover everybody that was on that stage at Te Matatini,
Right.
because the show still had to go on. There
That's
were
right.
those dedicated people in the tourism industry, that had to stay back and actually do the deed,
Yeah,
because
te ahi tā,
tourism was,
eh?
yeah, that's right, it wasn't going to stop. That was the bread and butter that was coming to the table, like you said before, And so when COVID came last year and tourism stopped, that
Mm.
was a big blow. That
Yeah,
was a
it
big
was
blow for our
really
whānau.
heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was. And we had to look for a new norm. People
Yeah.
that were working in the industry, had to move on into different areas.
Mm.
And my role at that time last year was to identify, ngā hua kei roto. So I was in charge of some of these people that had done concert for 30, 40 years, to look at what they had. They thought they had to have the tohu to apply for these particular jobs, but it wasn't about
Mm.
that. They had the characteristics that they had developed in the industry to move forward, and that was the thing that we had to really, get across, because they didn't know any better. That was their life.
Yes,
Being
that's
in the
right.
tourism industry was their life, and so for me, I think that was the downing part, was that people didn't see ngā hua. They didn't see the
Mm.
beauty of that seed, that they can grow into a different space. They had already grown
Oh,
in 30, 40 years in the tourism space, but bringing those skills that they learnt in the tourism space, bringing it to the now, they had a lot of life experience
yes.
in management, leadership. So we need to identify those key attributes that they already had, so that they could apply for these jobs. And my next
Aye.
question to you is basically, as a mokopuna, and as a wahine, what what is one of the things that you drive to excel in? What is your motivator at this time of the point? So COVID's not going away. So there
Mm,
must be a motivator for you in your life that's keeping you going. What is that?
that's wow. That's a really great question. I think at this point in my life, a motivator for me is um, it's so cheesy, but it's just being kind, especially with all this left wing, right wing corridor going on, especially with my generation. That's we're facing so much challenges. We can't afford a house because it's just unrealistic when we don't have a job that we haven't held down for longer than a few months because we don't have the experience that they're looking for. We're also wanting to have children. Do we get married anymore? Like all these things go on. I think just kindness to ourselves firstly, that hey, I'm doing okay, I'm doing enough, and I'm living the life that I have to live right now, and I'm making changes, and it may not be as fast paced as what I wanted it to be like a year ago, but at the end of the day, I'm still working hard and I'm proud of my achievements so far. And I think if we're able to be kinder about ourselves in that way, we then radiate that sort of vibe to everyone we meet, and it just sort of ripple effects to everybody. And other than being kind, I think a great motivator for me is just still being here and still living up to the standards and dreams that my nan and koro had for me in whatever way that means today. I know that they just wanted me to be happy. At one point, Nan wanted me to go to university, but that didn't happen. And it probably won't. I'm sorry, I'm not really keen to have a loan added onto my stress at this point.
Oh,
So
you're so right. There's some consequences in life these days. It's not being a young person. You're still so young.
we're
Um,
young, we're young.
yeah, I am too. Did you know I got told that I look 28? So I'm very, very,
Oh,
very thankful for that. And yes, I am 20 something. No,
I,
but but yeah, in saying that, you're right. The simplicity around being kind, and the simplicity of your motivator is basically that drives you to get into these different places. And you're right. Houses these days, I saw on the news, are costing over $1 million.
yeah.
And back in like the Ra, they were like going for 50,000. We thought that was a lot back in those
Mm,
days. And then you get these houses that have been occupied by so many Māori on our street, and they selling up, either because the whānau have moved on, passed away, and these are whānau homes that they built themselves. And, you just feel so aroha, because sometimes it's not the same. They don't bring the people that are moving into those houses, they bring the same aroha, if you know
yeah,
what I mean. It's
yeah,
not the
yeah.
same thing that was built, this street was built on. And so I'm not saying that anyone on our street is, porangi or anything like that. I'm not saying like that. I'm just saying that now streets that we're growing up on have got different people that are here, and we have to, how many of us really do know our neighbours? How
Yeah,
many of us
exactly.
really do this kanohi ki te kanohi approach? Because that's what our nan and koro taught us.
Mm,
We went out and we introduced ourselves to everybody on the street, and then
mm.
all the kids were playing on the street back in my day. And so
Yes.
that was the good thing around being around whānau during that time.
And with COVID today, I think this whole stay to your bubble, self isolate, or, social distancing, it's almost now created this weird behavioral pattern in humans that we just don't know how to socialize anymore. We just don't know how to act when we meet each other in the streets. And
Yep.
although you're wearing a mask, I just feel like that then puts up this massive barrier like, don't talk to me. We can't interact in public. You don't touch me, don't hug me, you're in my bubble. And it feels weird that I'm like, have we forgotten how to be basic,
Yes. Yeah,
just
that's right.
kind to one another?
Yeah. And you say that, and I believe that too. And sometimes I'm guilty of that. You know,
Mm,
if I'm on a mission, I'm
Yeah.
on a mission. If I've got to get to a certain place, I'll get there. But hang on, I've got to say hello to Anna Flavel,
O tēnā koe
Mana
ana.
Waka, everyone else that's watching and sending
Kia
messages. I
ora.
can't read them all at once. Say hi. Anyway, coming back to our kōrero, and you're right. And just those little gestures. That's us as Māori.
Ai,
That
yes.
kanohi approach, that touching feel. And it's funny you say that. It's not touching like touchy. It's like
Mm.
hugging. The hugs, the
Embrace.
the embracement of the affection and aroha that you have towards your whanaunga. And that's what I've said all this time. Whānau to me is anyone I have a relationship with. It's not just the kiritoto. It's not the blood that flows through us that links us together as whānau. No, you can be Chinese, Indian, whatever, and you're still whānau to me because we've got
Yeah.
that connection. So that's what whānau is to me. And I said that to so as most people know, I have got a neurological disorder at the moment, and my neurologist and my hematologist have been so funny in regards to into myself. So every Thursday I get treatments and stuff. Friday I'm at the physio, but they all ask me, why are you so happy? Why aren't you depressed? And all of these things. And there's 3 reasons, Vano, and I'm going to tell you these 3 reasons. First of all, you got to live life. When you've got something wrong with you, just live it out to the best of your ability.
Kōrero.
Second, I've always been a people's person. A people's person, not in the fact of, being out there every single day. No, but the people's person that loves to embrace other people all the time. That's my rongoa. Those are the things that keep me going. And the third, so whānau, that's whānau in my eyes. The third thing, te whakapono. My faith keeps me
Ai.
going. And that's the 3 things that I tell my neurologist and my hematologist every month. I have to repeat myself. I have to push record or something because they ask that same question. I'm thankful for that because that means they genuinely care about you. People that actually ask those questions, how are you? Genuinely want to know how you are. And how many times have we said, oh, well, I'm katapai, I'm good. When
Yeah. And
really
that's it.
you're in
Leave it there.
pain, you're in pain, you've got something wrong, but you still just lied to the person that you said, yeah, katapai,
Yeah.
And so the focus is now on a different subject because you've changed the whole kōrero around. And so
Yeah.
that's the 3 things that the motivator for me for not being depressed, whānau. And it doesn't
Wow.
mean it's called depression. No, it just means that, he kare ā-roto. There's some things that we need to focus on, that we need to embrace. And so those sort of things are based on the aroha and the aroha that we've got from our queer, our karaua, like you said,
Ai.
that frame and make us into the people that we are.
That
So
we
my
are
next
today.
question, Ete Tuahine, how was your year as Miss Rotorua?
When I really think about it, it's like been a blur. It's been so fast that I couldn't even believe that it had been a year. Well, a year and a bit, because my year was actually up back in September. And then, just last Friday, November, the first week of November is when we were able to have Miss Rotorua to crown our next winner. So for me, my year, it taught me a lot about how a symbol of a beauty queen is viewed today. It also taught me a lot about different spaces that I would enter and how people reacted to someone with a crown and a sash, and this big elegant gown. It taught me just how people reacted to that. But honestly, the year was amazing and it was wicked. That's all I can say. It was a wicked year. Um, and when I was first crowned, one of the first questions I was asked on the night of crowning actually was, what does this title mean to me? And I couldn't answer it then. I was like, I don't know. It's just been placed on my head. I don't know what it means. I didn't intend to win. So I never thought about the aftermath of crowning night last year. I just entered because I saw that there was a standard of beauty that was lacking, and that was, real size women, but also women that just represent what not it's not a bad thing, but it's like just truly happy women that didn't have to have a really sad story to get to that point. Not that I'm downing anybody that did, but women who are truly genuinely raised with love and are proud to
Definitely.
show that they were raised in that love, and showcase that the love of their whānau, their iwi, their nannies, their aunties, all of that. This is the product of that. And so why should we not celebrate that? So I wanted to represent that. I wanted to be the role model of motherly figures and fatherly figures in my life. And once the year was coming to an end and I was doing the school visits, or I'd be just randomly in town and I would see these young girls with mothers who would both say to me like, oh, I was watching your journey, or I've been watching you for the year, and I really love that I've seen your posters around town, or I watched this interview that you did with so and so. And they just said that it was really lovely to see, just someone who looked like me, or who sounded like me, or who came from the same roots as I did, in these areas of influence, if that's what we call it. And they took inspiration from that, because that to me was like, if I made a difference to how that young girl then views herself, that's all I wanted to do, is just to help our young Māori and Pacific women be like, you know what, yeah, I should be celebrated for the way that I am. I should feel proud about the person that I am today. So yeah, that was a really long answer.
Oh no,
Sorry.
that was a perfect answer, and you're right. I was just talking before you hopped on about that. We had different nationalities, we had different stories. Their truth came out. The truth of some of these amazing women. I'm sure. If you're watching Ash, there wasn't a dry eye after your
Mm,
truth was said, and so he mihi nui tēnei kia koutou ngā wāhine toa. There's a whole heap of things that we just don't know about people these days. And so,
absolutely.
for them to share their truth publicly like that was amazing. And so I'm just so thankful
Mm,
for opportunities like this. You're right, it doesn't matter what size you are, not what color you are. It was accepted into the space. And our interview with Carl Wiripa a couple of months ago, was exactly based on that: beauty within, not beauty without,
mm,
from the outside. And so that really resonated with me over the years and over the time, about what the true essence is around Miss
mm.
Rotorua. It's not like any other beauty pageant. Is that right?
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
definitely not. I mean, half the women, even myself, I would never have been accepted into like a Miss New Zealand, or never even be considered for that sort of beauty pageant anywhere else, if it weren't for how Ka Wirepa envisions Miss Rotorua and what that means today, and what our beauty pageant means. And because it's such a Western concept, beauty pageants, putting women on a stage and um, making them feel like they're a herd of sheep or cows, and they're just on display. And that's been noted at many, many world class pageantry, that it's superficial. And so for
Yes.
Kyle to bring Miss Rotorua and give it the elements that he has, which is like the talent section, which is like expanding the entrance to any age, you, above 16, any age over 16, any size, any ethnicity, including different titles like Miss Manawahine, Miss Te Arawa, Miss Multicultural. These titles then give women to be like, yes, there are so many aspects of beauty that go unseen in these bigger pageants, that making it Miss Rotorua such a pioneer of what beauty really means to all of us as women and people.
Yeah, you're so right. And it's I think that was the thing that I've over the last 3 years watching. That was the main thing that I saw as well, was based around those aspects. And there's a whole heap of people to thank behind the scenes for that sort of stuff. But I was very thankful to be a part of that for the last 3 years. And this year's one was just as good as the year that you won, 2020. But I must congratulate you for the work that you've done, an ambassador for Miss Rotorua. You were everywhere. You were absolutely everywhere. You were at every event that I was a part of. You were
Which
at
is meant you
oh
are everywhere.
oh well, and I find that, and you're right. The year has gone so quickly, and the amount of I just don't have time these days to do much things. And so the times that I do have, and you would say that too, is that we've got to choose it wisely and we've got to live it wisely at the same time.
Yes.
When I say live life to the fullest, it means realistically live your life to the fullest. It doesn't mean
But how you
overexert
want to
yourself.
live it.
Yeah, that's
Aye.
exactly right. Yeah, you're so right. And that's the kōrero that bases your title as Miss Rotorua, and that's the characteristic that goes with that title. The title is not just the beauty side of things;
Mm,
it's what you do for your community, it's what you do with your whānau, and the way
yeah.
that you portray yourself into this community of Rotorua that
I know.
helps to motivate, support not only our young people, but anyone here in the right direction. So he mihi nui tēnei kia koutou to you, Aututahi, and also to
No,
Miss
cool.
Rotorua Charitable Trust for the kaupapa uh, that's not just for beauty, but it's for the
Mm,
aroha that comes out of that kaupapa. My next kaupapa kōrero, but before my next kaupapa kōrero, we're just going to play this video from Miss Rotorua this year of Te Karere. And so, um, I find all these things from Te Karere very interesting. And I love watching these sort of things. So, whānau mā taki mai.
Wahine rere hua o Rotorua mo tēnei tau. Te kaumāwaru ngā wāhine e whakataitai ana i te taitara nei ka mutu. He taitara whai mana tēnei i nā koa kuia anake. Te whakataitai e whakahaere ana e te Māori, anei te pūrongo a Moana Makapelu Li.
E toru marama ki muri, ki hairawa tēnei more hutai tōkai, more hutai miripi, i te whakapono kauru ia ki te whakataitai whakaātāhua.
I was very nervous, going through a lot of the mistakes, and actually this journey had kind of uplifted a lot of wairua in myself, spiritually as well.
Ina e nei ka hikoia patience pari o te arawa, i te araroa ki mua i tāna hapori, ki te whai i te taitara nui whakaharahara o Miss Rotorua.
I actually had overcome all of that going through this journey, and people actually believing that I could possibly do it.
Ko ia tētahi o ngā kai whakataitai te kaumāwaru i tēnei tau. Ko te kaumārua wiki te roa e ako ana i ngā momo o te wahine maia, me ngā hitori hoki o te arawa.
And I was bullied quite badly for majority of my school life, and I just want to empower other young kids that might be going through the same thing and just let them know, if I can do something like this, you can too.
Getting through the day with wearing high heels, I'm not used to that because I have a medical condition, spina bifida. So yeah, just getting through this pageant with that is really hectic.
We're really excited that we've been able to help people come through MET. We've had girls that have been prostitutes, that have been in prison, that have special needs, disabilities. So we're really proud of our pageant being able to support them in their platform.
Kia kite hoki i ngā rerekētanga o te ātāhua. Aha kua Māori mai, aha kua Pākehā mai, aha kua Tauiwi mai, koe rata kutima kia kia.
Hei tā te toa whakaihu waka o te wānei a Aututahi Pōtaka Jews, he nui ake i te whakaātāhua.
Ka ako hoki rātou me pēhea te whakaaro pai anō mōna ake, nā te mea kia haunei mena ka pai te whakaaro o te wahine mōna anō, ara ka whakatau e rā momo whakaaro ki ana te māhine, ki ana i rānatu ki ngā wahine o a pōpō.
The next crowned Miss Rotorua, I expect her to uphold the legacy and the mana of Te Aroa and of Rotorua, our people, but I also expect her to bring something new.
I love the way I am now. And I thank that patience for how she brought me into that.
Te ahua nei kua toa kea patience ki runga I te ara whakamāia I ngā wāhine o Rotorua. Moana makapilulei te karere.
Ngā mihi nui kia rātou. That was just one of those motivators that, that touches the hearts of so many of us. And that's why I think was the best thing about Miss Rotorua this year. It brought just so much rawness and truth forward for these people, ladies.
Real woman telling real stories, hey?
That's right.
You know.
Yeah, it was exactly that. And yeah, what a beautiful thing to be a part of. And even to the charities that you that for this year. So there were 5 charities that were supported by Miss Rotorua this year, and they went out to fundraise money for these charities, but they also went out to do some cleaning up down in Rotorua around the rubbish and stuff. So that was a real huge mihi to them. So the 5 agency charities that they chose was Save Our Babies Charitable Trust, Hope Walk, Brave, Linton Park Community Centre, and what was the last one?
And Dress for Success.
Yes, Dress for Success. Yes, it was. And so a huge mihi to those 5 charities and to Miss Rotorua Charitable Trust for the mahi that they're doing. And to end that kōrero for Miss Rotorua, we can expect next year in March or April a TV show. Is that right?
Oh my gosh. So this year there was a TV crew that filmed that followed the journey. What should have been a 12-week journey, but ended up being like an 18, 19-week journey. And so early next year, there'll be an 8-part series on Māori TV and on TVNZ On Demand, showcasing the tears, the joy, the drama, all that you would expect if you were to put 20 plus women in a room, with all different stories to tell, with all different life experiences, with many, many age differences as well. So all of that coming together, and you see the beauty, you'll see them blossom, but you'll definitely see the raw and real truth of what behind the scenes of Miss Rotorua is like.
Kapai, and watch out for that on your screens for that kaupapa. And what's it called?
Gowns
again,
and Guises. Gowns and Guises.
What a cool name.
I know, right? Hey, it's very Rotorua.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have a tiara, so I had one of the, my tipare. But yeah. But it
I
was
should
just
have
making
brought my crown.
Yes.
Met you.
Yes. And
Wow.
oh my gosh, your crown is so beautiful. I just want to say all those crowns are so beautiful.
Yes.
It's like the real McCoy, like a princess. Anyone would love to just even get one of the little ones, your big, huge one. I was like, wow, those are pretty. If I was a young girl, I would so look up to being in the pageant just to win a crown,
Yeah.
So I think those are amazing. So
Princess.
I think Carl should look at kings and whatever.
I think there needs to be a Mr. Rotorua there.
Yeah, Mr. Te Aroa, Mr. Yeah. I think I might have to start it myself, I think, eh?
Oh.
Yeah, I know. We better not compete against Ka Wiripa. So we'll from that stage, I want to go to this next stage. You have been on musical stage for a few years now, or for quite a long time, and I've had the pleasure in watching some of your shows, musicals that you've been a part of. How was that for you? How was being on these shows, being on Broadway, or being on these musicals like 8 Scots Ave, that Samoan one? What was that one?
Alofa.
I love that one. And just all these ones with the Rotorua Musical Theatre. So this time last year, whānau, was my first year that I ever hopped onto a musical show called Aotearoa, and Aututahi was our lighting gal and everything else in between. But to be honest, Aututahi was quite an inspiration for me to take that stage, because at that time, like some of the ladies for Miss Rotorua, I was still going through my runga journey, and I still am, but my mobility was so limited, but the musical theatre adjusted to my needs, and so I was really appreciative for Rotorua Musical Theatre to give me the opportunity to stand. I didn't even audition. How rude is that, eh? They
You know
needed
what?
they
That
needed
very
me.
first. That's a testimony to your pukenga e hoa.
Oh, hey,
They knew you
this
could
is a
just get
one.
up there and pull it
That was
out.
a one-hit wonder. That I said that to people. They go, "Oh, are you going to do another show?" I said, "Yeah, Carl, that was a one-hit wonder. That's a tick off my bucket
Bucket
list.
list.
That one." But yeah, my question to you. Sorry, I'm taking all the time, but my question to you is, how's that feeling for you taking the stage? I know it was a huge achievement for me to take that stage and complete it. What was the
Mm.
what was the what was it like for you?
I've found like that being on stage is, in a weird way, my comfort zone, because I feel like when you're in the middle of a performance, people have the option to just go and not listen, or sit there and just like take everything that you're pouring out your heart and soul, and they're just there like lapping it up. And something about giving all of me in that moment and somebody else taking that and feeling something from that is so heart filling for me. Like it's not even just heartwarming. Like there's something in my soul that just like it just feels like it's on fire, and I just love that feeling. And I think it takes me back to when Koro would make me perform in the living room to him, and no audience, no nothing, but he would be like, "All right, hit me with your Sound of Music, Waiata," and I'd be like, "The hills are alive," and just would be in our room, living room, performing to each other. But that's how I feel now every time I sing or perform, is it takes me back to that moment. I don't even feel like there's an audience anymore. I feel like it's me and Koro having this sing off, or having this moment together, and it just recreates that feeling for me. And since kei te tua o te ara toku karaua I nei, for me it's like keeping him alive in me. So I love performing. I love watching it. I love feeling that when I see someone on stage, when I saw you on stage with your little one-liners of Aotearoa, I just thought, yes, shine the spotlight on iwi.
Oh, honestly, that spotlight was so hot. I
Oh,
was like going, oh my gosh, take it off me, take it off me. I don't need it. Yes, and you're right. My one-liners, but yeah, he mihi tēnā kia koe. But and saying what you said, you can see the influence of your koroua in the mahi that you've been doing, not only with Te Aroa FM, and not only for Miss Rotorua, but with everything that you do in the mahi arehia, mahi whakaari, so all of that sort of stuff that you've been doing is, I can see, is it's a contribution not only to Koro Eru, but to Nani Kiri as well. She
yes.
has been a major influence in both of our lives. And
I think
she's
Danny Kitty's been she's the realist. Koro was the dream big, go hard, reach for the moon, or reach for the planets, the stars, go beyond what we see here. Whereas Nan was like, when we were young, when I was young, and Nan would take me to kura, and I'd have that same confidence that I would with Koro, and I'd be trying to sing with Nan, and she's like, "Babe, I don't think singing's your thing, eh?" I'll be like, oh, okay. She was very much the bring me back down to earth,
yeah,
which is someone
that's
we need, because
and that's so
yeah,
you, Nani Kiri. And if you're watching Nani Kiri, we love you so much for your realness. Oh my gosh, and we need your people like your queer that stand up for us. That stand up for our rights. And you know, I've seen your queer do so many submissions to our council and to government in regards to some of our issues that are raised, and she does it for all of us. You know, she said it. She goes, if I'm not going to fight for you guys, then it's going to be the same fight that has been going on for my rano. And so
Absolutely.
that's
Yeah.
her contribution. She said that to me. That's her contribution back to us, is to.
Yeah.
She's still got the drive, the fight to do it for us. So she's going to go do it. And she
She's
goes,
gonna carry
anyway,
on.
yeah, and anyway
Mhm.
that she does it. And you're queer. Oh my gosh, how old is she? She is the fittest queer I ever know.
Honestly. E te whānau, if you ever meet my nan, you'll either meet her at the swimming pool at the aquatic centre here in Rotorua, swimming her 1.5 Ks every morning, or you'll meet her at the Profiles gym, or you'll meet her in her garden. She will be, sure, man, ka puhia nan hau. She finds out I'm telling her this, but she will be 85 next month
Wow.
in December.
Yeah.
And her thirst for life, you know, her passion to live, I think that's what I take from Nan. She's very much real and keeps me down to earth and stuff, but I'm like, we'll off a duck's back with her criticism. But if I'm taking anything from Nan, it's that she has this drive to be like, there is more to you that what we're seeing, and you deserve to give it out, give it a go. You deserve to give it all, and and we as Maori deserve to be treated right. And so she's very much that advocate, activism, queer that I just she's goals to me. She's Nan goals.
Yeah, she definitely is that, and she's definitely te kuini me ki o tō tātou ao. So ngā mihi nui kia koe nene kiri. We do appreciate you, and we thank you for your beautiful moko that we have on our show tonight. And some of the attributes of you, Aututahi, is definitely from your queer as well. And I see that every time I'm with both of you. And it'd be nice to have another catch up with Nene Kiri with some of our stuff that we do as well. To finish off our segment, I sort of just ask these questions like how you do on the radio station. So, boil up or hangi?
Boil up.
Yes. What kind?
Pork bone boil up, but with no sauce. No tomato sauce, no.
What? You gotta have tomato sauce with all boil up.
I just don't really like tomato sauce in general, but boil up. I know. Oh.
Do you like swimming in the sea or in our lakes?
The sea. Karanga mai te tai rāwhiti.
Oh, right. Yeah, I don't like bugs on my feet, so I wear those water shoes. I know I'm so not Māori. I don't like creatures and stuff, and I don't like the fact there's sharks and stingrays and jellyfish and stuff because
Oh my gosh, I love how people have that fear of being too far out and not knowing what's beneath you, like when you go out on a fishing boat. I love that feeling.
I don't like waves that are too big that go in your face and stuff like Yeah, so I'm
I
a
think
lake
if you're
boy,
not getting
and then
smashed by a wave, you're not
and it's
living.
a certain point of the lake, when I start feeling the lake weed, then I go back to shore and just do my paddle pool styles.
That's why I don't like the lakes, is because it's squishy and the lake weed, and I'm like the taniwha, the stories we get told about who's or what's living out in Rotoiti, and I'm like, no, thank you.
Mihi te Ngāti Rangi Wewahi and our whānau out at Awaho for allowing me to be baptised in the Awaho River back in 2012. And I'm very thankful for that. Ngā mihi nui kia koutou. But that's freezing. I'm just saying, if you ever been, I said, although it was freezing, but I didn't feel it. I didn't make, probably because I was so nervous and I was in the thing and I was getting dunked into the water. I didn't feel the cold, so I wasn't really that cold. But
that's
when
good.
I've gone back another day to have a swim, it was freezing. So it must have been the wairua in me that was heating me up at the time. Okay, back to the kore. Fry bread or rewana?
Fry bread. Oh, okay. If it was Korohuru's recipe for rewana, Korohuru's rewana. Ki te kore, te rewana no korohuru, then fry bread.
You know how to make rewana or fry bread?
I know how to make fry bread. My rewana skills are not it. What
Yeah,
about you?
know, I've been trying like through every lockdown to get the right consistency of my parawa. I've got it to a point where it's nice and risy, but when I start cutting into it, it's like
Deflates?
yeah, it's like a different texture. It's not like a rewana. It's like and it's not doughy, but it's just not right. And
Yep.
so yeah, I've only
We gotta
had
keep trying.
one rewana bread that was perfect, you know, and I've been trying to get that same one, but that was because I made 5 rewana and I'm been trying to make one, and the consistency is not. I can't make one. I can make 5.
Yeah.
So I have to make 5. But that doesn't mean that you get any ideas, Fano, that I'm going to make you a real.
Yeah. Well, make 5 for us, Ian. One will be right.
What did I just finish saying? Aututahi? Goodness. Back to the kaupapa koro. If you had a choice to watch a live show, which would it be, Lion King or Oprah?
Lion King ki te mate. I've watched Lion King. I've watched Lion King live in London, and it was just surreal. I mean, I know Oprah's amazing, and she'll probably give away some cars or something like that, which could be great, but
yeah, well, she didn't do that here in Aotearoa. This was her last chance to even give anything away, and all she gave away was fresh air. But in saying that, yes, if she was giving away something, but I must admit, she was beautiful. It was a beautiful opportunity to go watch her, you know, just to be in her presence, you know, was awesome. And that was the taonga that I took away from her show.
Oh my
so,
gosh.
yeah, no, he mihi kaua kia ia, kia Oprah. Yes, actually, you could be
Lion
Oprah.
King.
Yeah.
You could be Oprah.
How do you like taking your poses? Side on, front, back, head turn?
Oh, okay. Well, since I'm holding my phone, if I was to hold it, it'd be like up this and it'd be kind of like to the side, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Depends if I'm wearing my crown. If I'm wearing my crown, I have really no choice but to be front on, because if I tilt any way, it'd be like taka.
You're right. I'm a side person normally.
Yeah,
for
side.
selfies. So it doesn't show my double chin, you know.
Yeah, we need to get that jawline. We're not blessed with with a jaw that could cut, but no.
Although,
so we have to kind of push it out.
At least we've got beautiful lips and beautiful, you know, skin.
Skin.
It helps. We don't need makeup or anything, you know.
So it doesn't matter what angle was what we're saying there.
But you know, when I was doing musical, that was the hardest thing, was wearing makeup. You know, just so that I don't know why do we wear makeup on stage? Like everyone was wearing makeup.
Because the lights are so bright that they kind of wash you out a bit. So you might be like olive toned, but on a stage with those bright lights, we look ashy, or you know, tupapaku like. So we need that color. Yeah.
Nice. You look daunting.
Yeah.
Chocolate or ice cream?
Oh, chocolate. Yeah, chocolate. I if I were to be cut open, I swear my blood would run chocolate. Specifically the Whittaker's peanut butter chocolate.
I know. And you know what? I have got a koha for you. Thank you to Whittaker's for that. Now I know who to give that peanut butter Whittaker's chocolate to. Ngā mihi kia koe. And because we're finished now, so we're up to our last part. So he mihi tēnā kia AWOL, Annie's Way of Life, for supporting our kaupapa. Maranatha Church, they've also given us some support. And also the charities like Aroha Mai Cancer Support Service and Save Our Babies Charitable Trust. They continue to support our show called Thankful Thursday, and that's what Thankful Thursday is all about, whānau. It's about the aroha that we give and we share with our whānau. If you would like to donate to one of our charities, Save Our Babies Charitable Trust, here is the account number on our screen tonight. He mihi tēnei hoki kia kahira for her awesome mahi that she participates in this koha. Also, don't forget, whānau, we're drawing near to our Thankful Thursday koha part, or Share the Chair. So Share the Chair was started by my whānau 10 years ago, and this is our 10-year anniversary. So this year we are still giving away food parcels and gifts for children that are in the hospital and that live within some of the emergency housing sectors throughout Rotorua and the Bay of Plenty Waikato area. So if you're interested in that kaupapa whānau, just go to my website, www.iwitefo.com. E taku whanaunga, ngā mihi nui kia koe, mō tō tainga mai ki tō tātanei tā. Thank you very much for coming on, and even with the phone difficulties, how blessed are we to have you on Thankful Thursday tonight. And saying that, whānau, we also had our giveaway for our tautoko business. Last week was Noa Mihi Tai Puke Puke, and they won their antivirus pack. So once I've emailed the person who won it, so once you get back to me with your address, I will put that in the post. And so that winner went to one of our AWOL, so Annie's Way of Life viewers on that platform that was watching. And so yeah, we're just waiting for your information to come back to us so we can send that koha. This week's tautoko business is a bakery that's based down at Ngāpuna, and my good friends down there have given me a lunch vouchers for some chicken and chips, and they've thrown in a drink. So whānau, I know it's very healthy. We take that very seriously. And so whānau, if you want to win that prize, all you need to do is this. Go on to my website, subscribe to my website, and it's easy as that. You could win this prize. And sorry, whānau, you have to be from Rotorua to win this one, because I don't have any bakeries anywhere else that have given support for. So this is for Ngāpuna Bakery on Tengai Road with the new road division and stuff. So anybody that wants to win that kai pack, just go onto my website, subscribe to iwi.com, and you could win that prize. So Aututahi, thank you very much for joining me tonight. To go with that chocolate, I've got another koha for you. So I just need to reach over and get it. One moment. Sorry. So one of my other mahi that I do, and that's on our website, whānau, is hats and clothing and masks. Those are all coming very shortly. But this is a koha for you, my dear. So this is a pōtai that I made just for you. And there's a few more that I've got that will be on our website very shortly. And sorry, whānau, we don't make custom ones. We just make whatever resources that we've got on hand. We just make them, okay? And so this is my koha to you. I'll drop it off to you at Mahi tomorrow when you're on for your afternoon show. And so I'll drop it off to you with your chocolate, your Whittaker's peanut butter chocolate. All right.
Ngā mihi nui kia koe te whanaunga. He whakaaro rangatira. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining me tonight. And whānau, that brings us to the end of Thankful Thursday. I runga te humare te rangi marie. Kia tau te rangi marie ki rungi a koutou katoa. Kia noho haumaru, kia noho ora mai. Stay well, stay safe, and continue to be thankful in every day, in every way and shape. Nō reira, Aututahi, pō marie, koutou mai e matakitaki mai, ka kite anō, pō marie, ka kite whānau.